Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lindy's Gang YouTube channel. My name is Aditi, and today I am going to be using the Mountain Meadows Flat Magical Set, which is the color set of the month, to create an inspirational card for our challenge. The element of this month's challenge is all about flowers, blooming, growth, and blossom. And so I have, of course, stamped my floral clusters, heat embossed them with gold, used a sentiment with flowers which says flowers are like friends, they bring color to your world, which is so true. And in this video tutorial, I will be painting this entire image with these magicals. I also have an embossed and die cut butterfly, which I want to add to the card. And I will just be painting this with magicals as well and then adding it to my final card. So let's dive right in. Now, I over on Instagram had shared a swatching reel showing you the colors that come in this set. They are flats, by that it means that there is no shimmer. You could, of course, add fairy fluff or any of the glitzies if you want to bring that sparkle, shine, and shimmer. But this is a very good set for painting floral images or painting any images in the watercolor style. So using that color palette, I will be painting today. And apart from the magicals, I have my Lindy's Gang Mini Mister, two paintbrushes, and my palette here with the colors pre-mixed. So I am definitely going to mix a little more pigment because this is not going to be enough. This is what I had mixed when I was just swatching the colors. So I will mix a little more pigment here on the side, and it's simple. I will just add the pigment powder on my palette and mix it with water. So once I'm done with that, I will be back and begin painting my floral cluster. So first up, I'm only going to paint the flowers. So I have Wild Rose Rouge and Foxglove Fuchsia, and I have a size 5 and size 7 paintbrush here. Depending on the thickness, I will change between these two paintbrushes. Now the Wild Rose Rouge is a lighter pink, whereas the Foxglove Fuchsia is again a darker pinkish purple. So I'm going to use that to add more depth and go in with the Wild Rose Rouge first to begin with. I am going to use clean water here. So just to quickly show you, dipping my paintbrush in water, wiping off the excess, I am then going to wet the region that I want to start painting. So I'll begin with this particular flower right here and add this clean water to the petals. And I'm going to do 2 petals at a time. Since it's not too big, I can manage and do that. I'm going to pick the pigment just slightly on the tip of my paintbrush and drop it there. And then because there is water, it is going to just start flowing and moving in the direction of the water. So once that is done, I'm going to use my clean paintbrush here on the side, just moisten it with water and spread the color out towards the tip of the petal. And this instantly helps me create shading for this natural look that I want on the petals. So that's the reason why it's handy to use 2 paintbrushes at a time, because then you don't have to clean off any of that pigment there or waste it, and you can just continue on adding color and building layers with our magicals. So at places where I know that I want it to be a little darker, I'm just going back in with more pigment and then just spreading it out with the clean paintbrush. So this is the process that I'm going to predominantly follow throughout. And what I'm going to do is just leave you all with a little music and finish the base coat painting in this manner, adding a little bit of the pigment. Like you can see, I'm just picking a little at the tip of my paintbrush, and places where I know I want it dark, I'm just going back in and blending that out with my clean paintbrush. I also have a piece of paper napkin right here in front of me, and I'm just cleaning off the brush just in case I have any excess pigment that I picked up. And then with my clean brush, I'm going back in to blend that pigment. So with that, I have my first base coat down in place, and I am now going in with the Foxglove Fuchsia on this first flower that I had already painted earlier. So now I'm going to use my finer paintbrush and pick Foxglove Fuchsia, but you can see I'm putting more of the pigment. I'm not just touching on the tips. I'm making sure there's enough pigment soaking my brush bristles, and I'm just getting rid of any excess because I don't want it to be too watery or soppy. So I have enough pigment there, and with that I'm just going to go in and start adding some depth with this darker color, especially towards the base of the flower, so that I can bring in a little shadow. So I've started at the base, and then right here at the tip of the petal, I'm going to go inwards to create that little depth. And here at the fold, just slightly, not too much. And I'm going to use this paintbrush, which is a little moist, and see if I can gently blend it out a little bit, so that I don't have that stark line, but I still have that distinction between my dark and light. So just gently with my brush, I am blending that in at places, so that that stark line is going to get diffused a little bit. Again, the brush is not too wet, not too moist, and it's almost as if with the wet brush we are lifting off a little color and reactivating the base color, just so that we can create a nice smoother blend. Just like that. I'm going to repeat that same thing here at the tips, where I brought in the darker color. any harsh lines, but I also do want to maintain a organic, natural looking blend and shading there. So I'm going to pick back a little bit of this rouge just at this place so that I can have a better blend. So at places, if you feel like it's not working, you can go back in with your base color, add in that color, and then clean paintbrush just lifting off and blending the color. So it's a time-taking process is what I would say, but it's an enjoyable and relaxing process. So for me, it doesn't really matter that it takes that long. So I'm going to show you that once more here on this petal. So I have enough pigment from the previous time. I'm going to not anymore and do the same thing. Just strokes, slight strokes from the inside of the petal, like the base, extending outwards, just where I know that there needs to be a little darker color. And then repeating the same process with my clean paintbrush, blending all of that to get rid of these harsh lines and making sure that I have a nice looking blend. Again, I lift off the color and I dab it before I go ahead and blend further on my paper napkin here so that I don't have any extra color that I'm adding instead of lifting. So right here to further blend it, I'm going to lift a little rouge and just dab that, and that will help me get rid of those harsh lines yet create a cool texture that further enhances that organic look. So once I have that little color right here in the center to retain my highlight, I'm going to lift off the color and show you how that looks in just a second. So now you can tell the difference between these petals and these two petals, giving it a more natural, realistic look. So again, I will leave you all with music to enjoy this process that I'm showing and finish painting the two flowers in this manner. So that's a look at the painted flowers. Now I'm going to use the mountain meadow green as well as the evergreen emerald. So I already have those two mixed here on my palette for the leaves. And I'll do the flower centers at the end. But I'm going to go in with this lighter green and first paint the flowers in the similar way that I have been doing with the petals. So just wetting one area with a clean paintbrush and dropping in the pigment from Mountain Meadow Green. This has already dried, so I can quickly clean my brush and then pick in the evergreen emerald with my finer paintbrush, just like I did with the fuchsia for the petals. I'm going to pick that and add a little depth to the leaves now. So that is complete and it looks very pretty. Now for the flower center, I want to create a different blend. And what I'm going to do is first lay out this green, the lighter green. I'm not wetting the region simply because it's a little portion plus with that gold embossing powder, I have enough trapped area and my color will go only to the paper region, so I don't have to wet this too much. And I'm going to do this for both the flowers simultaneously because it's a smaller region. I can be faster with that. So I have that green down in place. Now I'm going to pick my fuchsia and dab that at places to create a little bit of a blend. So just to make the flower center a little more darker and brighter than the rest, the green and the purple will create a little bit of a brown, and that's okay. I'm going to go in with this evergreen emerald as well and dab that at a few places just so that I get this deeper purpley color. Not a brown exactly, it's more of an aubergine color, I would say. And I'm just going to make sure to fill that in so that when it dries, that embossing powder is going to resist, and then there's going to be that deeper purple that's going to shine through. So I'm just picking in this excess pigment right there just to see how that looks and if I'm liking that, and I think that looks beautiful, so that works for me. Now I'm going to leave this to dry a little bit before I come back and finish with the background. You could stop here. You could have this on this white base and have all of that pretty watercoloring there. But I am going to try something and bring in my stormy sky. just to create a little variation. Now, all I'm going to do is go all around, cover my entire background with stormy sky to bring in the dark depth, the dark deeper color, which was going to really make all of these elements pop through. So just the larger areas I will go in with my thicker paintbrush, and then the tinier areas near the flower I will go in with my finer paintbrush. So I'm going to first do that, actually finish painting within this sector, and I don't want to pick too much color. I want to first drop it in, spread that out, and completely paint. So for this, I'm not doing a wet technique like a wet on wet, simply because these are tinier areas and I don't want the color flowing everywhere. So I am going to just do that all around and complete painting my background. So that's a look at the card complete. And when I began, there was a green particle in the stormy sky, and that's why my pigment was more greenish. But I went along and I've given it about 2 coats, so I have a nice blue layer, and it adds to the feel of my card, light to dark, and I'm quite happy with it. And that is a look at the butterfly. So I am just quickly going to glue that right there, so that way my flowers are also seen and the butterfly adds this extra touch of detail to this card. So that is a look at the card complete. I have mounted it on a top fold card base, added white splatter, and I absolutely love all of that color together with this painting technique, and I hope that you have enjoyed this detailed tutorial today. Do let me know in the comments what you think about this, and if this has helped you in learning to use magicals as watercolors. Until the next time, take care and bye bye.